Good morning, students. Today we are going to learn the steps of a randomized controlled trial. A randomized controlled trial, otherwise known as RCT, is a type of research design that is widely used in clinical and social sciences. And the main aim of an RCT is to evaluate the effectiveness of an intervention or a treatment. Now we can go through the steps involved in conducting an RCT. First step is define the research question and objectives. Clearly define the research question or hypothesis that the RCT aims to address. Then specify the primary and secondary outcomes you intend to measure. Second step of an RCT is doing a thorough literature review. Conduct a thorough review of literature to understand the current state of knowledge in the field and to ensure that your study is feasible, impactful, novel, ethical, and relevant. So we can remember these: feasible, impactful, novel, ethical, and relevant using an acronym FINER. Third step is to design the trial. Determine the study design, including the type of intervention, control group, and randomization method. A randomization method can be of three types. Can be simple randomization, stratified randomization, or block randomization. That we will learn in another video. Specify inclusion and exclusion criteria for participants. Designing the trial includes the following two components also. Calculate the required sample size to ensure adequate statistical power. Develop the study protocol, including a detailed plan for participant recruitment, data collection, and data analysis. Fourth step of an RCT is obtain an ethical approval. Submit your study protocol to an institutional review board or ethics committee for ethical approval. Ensure that the trial complies with ethical and regulatory standards. Fifth step of an RCT is to recruit participants. Recruit eligible participants according to the inclusion and exclusion criteria that is mentioned in the protocol. Obtain informed consent from each participant after explaining the study's objectives, risks, and benefits. Sixth step in an RCT is randomization. Randomly allocate participants to treatment and control groups to minimize selection bias. Ensure that the randomization process is well documented and conducted in a way that conceals the allocation sequence. Allocation concealment is also very important in a well conducted randomized controlled trial. Seventh step in an RCT is selection of intervention and control groups. Administer the intervention to the experimental group or intervention group and a standard treatment or standard experiment or placebo to the control group. Control group is the comparison group. Ensure that the intervention is standardized and delivered consistently to all participants. Eighth step in an RCT is data collection. Collect data on the primary and secondary outcomes using standardized and reliable methods. Implement blinding if possible to prevent observer bias. Use structured data collection tools and maintain detailed records. These are the measures to be followed during data collection. Ninth step in an RCT is to do follow-up. Determine the follow-up period and schedule for data collection. Minimize loss to follow-up by maintaining contact with participants and addressing any issues or concerns. Loss to follow-up or attrition is very much possible in an RCT. So the researchers need to take some measures to reduce loss to follow-up. 10th step in a randomized control trial is data analysis. Analyze the collected data using appropriate statistical methods. Use intention to treat analysis to account for non-adherence and withdrawals. Intention to treat analysis means that those who are allocated in experimental group will be analyzed in the same group. Those who are allocated to the comparison group will be analyzed in that group itself. Assess the statistical significance and clinical relevance of the findings. 11th step in an RCT is interpretation of results. Interpret the results in the context of the research question and the existing literature. Discuss the implications of the findings. 12th step in an RCT is to report and publish. Prepare a comprehensive research report or manuscript that adheres to standard reporting guidelines for RCT. Standard reporting guidelines for RCT is otherwise known as consort checklist. Submit the results for publication in a peer-reviewed journal. Step number 13 for an RCT is continued monitoring. Continue to monitor and report on the long-term outcomes, if applicable, to assess the intervention's sustained effects. Okay, continued monitoring is very important in an RCT. The last step in an RCT is post-trial evaluation. Assess the ethical, clinical, and practical implications of the trial's findings and consider any changes to clinical practice or policy. Throughout the RCT, it is crucial to maintain transparency, adhere to ethical guidelines, and to minimize biases to ensure the validity and reliability of the study's findings. Thank you.